sometimes we lose sight with our weeks being so busy, and we have stress and things that we just hold on to. We need to really listen to that song, come to the altar. When we have problems and we're struggling with our own emotions and things and our week to week, we need to come to the altar, right? And give those to God, because He has His arms open wide, ready to take those. He sent His Son to die for us so we don't have to deal with those things. Lord, I just pray tonight that You open our hearts to what You have, our ears to hear what You want us to hear. Now we can take something special and precious from this message spoken tonight. Amen. All right, so we're going to bring Pastor Hayden up.
Go Hayden!
But we have a video we're going to do first, and it's great. Yeah.
Start that mug over. They got to hear this. This is hilarious. It's on the Mac 1. Doo-doo!
Come on, come in here and see what we can find.
All right, start over. They got to hear it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Cop or Drop. We are here at the spot, growing up, best shoes, the best high fashion, and we just want to come in here and see what we can find, maybe pick up some heat today.
Let's go.
All right, so growing up, man, what did you have? What did you like?
I think it was the Champion 5s, bro. Champion
Okay.
5s, it has like a salmon kind of color, It's a good size. It's actually my size 14. Yeah. I like
Perfect.
it. I like it.
All right.
Yeah. You copy these real quick.
Perfect. I mean, man, for me, growing up, I can't get past it. There's not a day that went by my soccer season, in any season, where I didn't grab the Under Armours. These were it. The Under Armours with the blue tiger stripes. That was an everyday.
How about these nerves? Like when you drop this, do you not like it, man? Like,
I'm not about it, man. The shape, the color, it's plain. There's no eye.
A good shoe is these Nautica 5s, bro. The Nautica 5s, bro. My boy D Wayne he designed these, bro. My boy D Wayne's just the coolest guy you ever meet, man. Hit up D Wayne Benjamin on Instagram right now. He'll blow you up real quick.
You want one shoe, man, that I will never go to a wedding or a formal event without? These cushioned, flex soft Dockers. The best.
The Dockers, baby. The Dockers.
You know what? Hey, they're uncomfortable. They're ugly as sin. But wedding season comes, these are staple, baby.
And let's see, I'm feeling these real quick. Like, look at the glitter, when you put some picture on the ground there, it's gonna look good, bro. Come out. Look at the guy wearing these. That boy balls. That's all I'm gonna say. That boy balls. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, he's not sorry at all. He a baller. He a baller. That's all I'm gonna say. My boy D Wayne wearing those too. My boy D Wayne. D Wayne Benjamin. Remember that right now.
Hey, everybody. Well.
Microphone right here. 2 mics for tonight. Hello. That was fantastic. Oh, was that funny to anybody or no? Maybe it was more funny having to film it and just knowing those two. Was it funny to anybody? Not really. Cool. Thank you for the 3 of you. That was funny, and they worked really hard at that. Dang it, thank you so much. Can you undo that? Just set it right there in the name of Jesus. Well, anybody hot? Yeah, it's a little hot. We got the air kit. We got the air doing its thing now, so we should be good. We should be good. So, glad to see everybody back here to Comfort Drop. Thank you. You're a good person.
I love you.
I love you. How many of y'all came to Friends last Sunday night? Yeah? Awesome. And that was a fun night. I had such a good time, and that was one of those nights. Chops, can you turn me down? I am loud. If I'm loud up here, I know I'm loud out there. So, it was one of those nights where you had s'mores, like we had s'mores today. How many of y'all had the Italian soda?
Oh, so
That stuff's fire right there, man. The Italian soda. Man, we had the badminton tourney. Y'all like badminton?
yeah.
Yeah? Who hates badminton? You're like, it's the worst thing. Who loves it? Like, keep it out there. It's going. Let's do it. I like it. We had the badminton tournament. I just had such a good time. The Dr. Seuss raps. We put Eduardo on the map. Where's Waldo up here rapping? For those who weren't here, oh my gosh, you missed it. How many of y'all think we should do that again? That was just fun. That's just something we should bring back like once a month and just see what kind of rappers we could make in this room. We could really help some of you guys further your career in rapping if you just do that. So if you missed it, you're bad. But Friends was a good time, man. It's important that we find the real ones out there who will ride or die. How many of y'all would say, honestly, that you have at least one ride or die? No matter what, no matter wherever you go, no matter what goes on, you can call that ride or die right now, and they'll be there. They're there for you. How many of y'all would say, I don't have that right now, but I want it? At least you're honest. That's good. No, that's for real. That's good. It's good for you to know. Because we need that ride or die. We need that friend that will take us to Jesus. We need that friend that will pray for us. We need that friend that will fight for us, even when we can't fight for ourselves. And so that was kind of the vibe, the takeaway of that whole night. And so tonight we're talking about this whole idea of cop or drop. And you hear this kind of talk often in reference to sneakers, shoes. There's a show, there's a game that you can play with it. Essentially, for those who need to know, to cop means to essentially grab or take hold of, or I gotta scoop that boy up. And usually when someone uses the word cop, they're kind of using it with a sense of urgency, like, I gotta have these right here and right now. How many of y'all ever been shopping and said, I gotta have these right here? I can't leave this store without. How many of y'all can go shopping and not buy anything and leave content? What is wrong with you? I can never go shopping without buying something. If I walk into a store, you better believe I'm gonna spend that money. I cannot go to like a Finish Line. I cannot go to like a clothes store and not come out with nothing. I just can't. So for those who can, God bless you. There's a blessing on your life and God's going to use you in big ways. But not for me. So to cop means to, I got to scoop that boy up. To drop means to essentially, I'm going to pass on it. Not my vibe, not my style. I'm going to swerve. I'm going to keep sliding. I don't want anything to do with that. Not really my thing. All right, so that's kind of what it means to cop and drop. Now, how many of you guys in this room are like me and you like shoes? You just like shoes. How many would agree that shoes make the outfit? There's just something about a good, fresh pair of sneakers. And so I want to show you some shoes that I personally want to cop, that I've been wanting to cop for a minute now. And the first pair of shoes is these right here. These are Gamma Blue Retro Jordan 11s. I've wanted these for a long time. They're hard to get. They're really, really expensive. But I just love those shoes. I love the bottoms. I have the whites. I have the Bread 11s. But I want those. I like those. Second one, I like these shoes right here. Just some good basic Adidas with the gum bottoms. Just something real fresh. Kind of wear a lot of different things. You got them without the gum bottoms. I just like those. I would cop those in a minute. And lastly, I gotta bring out some of these. The Gucci slides. I've been wanting the Gucci slides for a minute, just to say I have some Gucci slides. I may or may not wear those a lot, but to say I have Gucci slides, it just works for me. So that's kind of my vibe. Now, I gotta talk a little bit about some shoes that I would drop in a heartbeat and I don't get it, okay? So go ahead and show that first picture. What the heck? Who would buy these Fila's, man? I'm sorry, bro. Like, you can pick those up, you can cop those, but like for me, those came out like 30 years ago, and they were horrible then, and they're horrible now. So if you got them for school, take them back and get something different. The other pair is these right here, these Nike Monarch old guy shoes. What the heck? How many of y'all know at least like one old man who mows his lawn and he wears those right there? Like, I would drop those. Those are embarrassing. Will has them. He's like, all day, baby. All day, baby. You know what would make this night is if you had those on, bro. That would have been so funny, bro. Monarchs, they're great. You know, speaking of cop and drop, it can be a game. And so, anybody want to play a game tonight? We're gonna play a little game. Mike's gonna come up here, and he's gonna kind of host a little miniature game of cop or drop. And so, Mikey, you got your mic? Fine, you can use it. Mikey, you have your mic. And I got some things. I'm wearing this for a reason. I'm not trying to be a tool. I actually have stuff in here that I want to use. And so I'll hold this. Perfect. Okay, explain the game.
All right, so we're doing a little game. Basically, we're gonna ask you if you want to cop it, which is
To pick up, to scoop, to grab, hold up, I want that, I want that now.
or we're gonna ask you to drop it.
Bump that, I want that.
All right. So you are going to cover your eyes, close your eyes, whatever. We're gonna have 4 of you come up, 2 high schoolers, two junior hires, and we are going to have you pick out of the box.
Wait, are you gonna, no, that's not how it works.
If you cop it.
If you cop, what I'm gonna pull out, all right.
No. You're blowing up
All
this
right, you
game.
run it, whatever. This is what I want to pull out and show them. Do you want it or do you not?
Yeah, so you're gonna cop what's in that little fanny pack of his. If he pulls it out, you're gonna say, hey, I want to cop that, yes or no. If you don't want to cop it, you're going to blind
Reach into this
pull
box.
out of that box. Who knows, man? Maybe something cool, maybe something not. All right?
Come on, Mike.
So,
First volunteer, we do one at a time.
first volunteer.
Come on.
Mike, you already know.
Come on.
Come on,
Come on!
Mike.
Hold on. One at a time. One at a time. What you got going on here?
So here's the thing. How many of y'all like Butterfingers?
Yes.
How many of y'all would cop this right here, right now? No. You wouldn't want to. You wouldn't want to try to figure out what's in here. So you cop or drop?
You gonna drop it?
She gonna drop that mug.
Okay.
All right. Close your eyes. I can't let you see what's in here.
Yeah, man. Come on.
Close your eyes.
Figure it out. Who knows?
I mean, I feel like they would put that in there.
Hayden would do too.
Seriously, I wouldn't trust those two with my life. Well,
Oh.
that's why I do trust Hayden. I trust Hayden.
So you dropped it. What'd you get?
I trust Mike in my life.
She got army
You got other people. Come on.
Who else we got?
Bro, Mike. Yeah. Mike,
Yes.
how you gonna do that?
Come on.
You can wait, Mark.
Wait a minute.
How about you just take a seat in the back row, all right, bud?
All right, here we go. This is cop or drop right here.
All right, man. So you're gonna cop it,
How about a Reese's?
or
He's
you're
gonna
gonna drop
He's
it.
dropping on the Reese's. How many of you drop out this way?
Hey,
All right. Everyone drops it.
I don't trust Hayden.
Wow.
That's not your son.
Close those eyes, man.
Start tonight. Very strong.
All right. So what you get?
Wow.
You put that on.
All right.
you know what you're wearing for Halloween.
Hold on. I'm gonna pick a girl. A junior high girl. Well, you send one up. Come on. Come on! Let's go!
All right, so here you go. Sour Patch Kids. Well, hey, I want y'all. Was y'all cop? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Cop it? Hey, you think she should cop it?
Cop it.
Who thinks you should drop this?
You don't want to
Stop that.
It's all about
That's right, come on! All right. I need a high school boy. High school boy. Come on, man.
All right. We're back to these until they go. We're back to these. So, you want a Reese's? You want a cup? Or you want to drop? He wants to cop that much? Smart man!
got a chance. Perfect. Priceless items. All right, close your eyes. Close your eyes. No, close your eyes.
Shoot him. It's moving!
China, what are you doing? You're like elbow deep in that shoebox.
Elbow deep.
Bro, you got like 2 seconds. One.
You got them both!
You got clock flavor, Flame. Come on. Yeah, get out of here. This is for me.
What? Gangster! She's gangster.
Hey, she's probably still gonna be late for things.
You can wear a clock around your neck and you're still gonna be late, he said. That's not. Oh man. Who likes Butterfingers? Travis. You can't believe you dropping a Butterfinger or a Reese's. What is wrong with you people?
You should have made him say the commercial.
All right. So,
No one let her forget my better.
the whole point of tonight is there's this reality that we're going to constantly have to make decisions in life to cop or drop. To cop, to pick up, to grab hold of, or drop. Just let it go. I don't want it. I don't want to be a part of it. Not my thing, not my vibe. Maybe it's a friendship. I'm going to cop this friendship because there's some things in their life that I want. Maybe it's a relationship. They looks good and I want to cop that. Or I certainly need to drop that because she crazy. We don't want none of them people in our lives. Maybe it's a sport. How many of y'all this year picked up your first sport? You're like, I'm going to cop a sport this year. I'm going to roll for it. I'm going to go for it. TJ, he's playing quarterback too. First year. Let's go. Come on. Maybe it's a club. You're going to go into school this year. There's a lot of different clubs. You can either cop a club or drop a club or whatever. Maybe it's your classes. Maybe it's your feelings. I got to cop these feelings because, she got me all kind of messed up in my feelings. Or maybe like I'm going to leave those down there because they're bad news. They're going to get me in trouble and God doesn't. All right, so tonight, let me go ahead and pray. God, help me preach. Help me preach, help me preach, help me preach. God, it's all about you. God, we can have fun in your house, but at the end of the day, we want to see people change. We want to see people challenged. We want to see people set free. We want to see you just do some awesome things. And so, God, would you do it tonight? Would you do it? In Jesus' name. Amen, amen. And so tonight, we're going to talk about a man in the Bible who essentially, like you and I, had an opportunity to cop or drop something, or should I say someone very significant, okay? And this man, his name is Pontius. It's probably not how you say it, but that's how I say it. Pontius Pilate. I'm going to refer to him as Pilate because I'm sure the word Pontius is not his name. But I'm a youth pastor and I can't read. So, go with me, okay? Pontius was a governor of the province of Judea, where Jerusalem was located. And so, Jesus is doing his thing. He's healing the sick. He's doing all these great things. And all these people in this place in Jerusalem are getting upset. He's wrong. Jesus, he's a treason guy. He's messing up. And so what they did was they took Jesus to Pontius Pilate's house. He was the one who had to give the Jewish leaders permission to execute somebody. At the end of the day, he was the one that was going to say, kill him or let him go. And so we see these folks lining up in front of his palace, lining up in front of wherever he's staying, saying, hey, we got a guy we got to bring to you. And the reality is, if I've studied some of the texts, and these Jewish leaders didn't always follow the protocol. They didn't always go to Pilate and get his permission. Sometimes they executed people on their own. They just said, forget it, they're so bad, we're going to kill them and bury them and no one's going to think about them again. But they knew they couldn't do it to Jesus because Jesus was well-liked and too well-known. And if they were just going to take care of Jesus behind the scenes, they would take on some serious heat. So they find themselves going through the correct protocol and they're going to Pilate and they're saying, this man committed treason, we need to take care of this, okay? So I want to pick up in Mark chapter 15, Mark chapter 15, 2 through 15. And I'm not going to read it all the way through. I'm going to talk a lot. I'm going to break up the text a little bit tonight to kind of help it come to life so you can understand what's going on and what people are thinking. And so I'm going to begin in Mark 15, 2 through 15. Remember, the people are all gathered at his house. They're having an issue. They want to execute Jesus, and we pick up. Verse 2. Pilate asked Jesus, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus replied, "You have said it." And then the leading priests kept accusing him of many crimes. And Pilate asked him, "Aren't you going to answer them? What about all these charges they're bringing against you?" But Jesus said nothing, much to Pilate's surprise. He said nothing. And Pilate marveled at that. He was amazed at the response because countless times many men have stood in the same place Jesus did and they pleaded for their life. Please don't kill me. I won't do it again. I won't kick him again. I won't hit her again. I won't kill him. I won't start an uprising anymore. I'm sorry I made a mistake. Would you just have mercy on me? But Jesus wasn't doing that. He remained quiet. He said nothing. And such silence was wholly unusual in that forum. And it demonstrated a presence and a dignity which puzzled Pilate and people around him. Why isn't this man saying anything? Why is he just letting people throw him under the bus and call him out for something he did not do? What's happening? Why is he pleading his case? Why isn't he fighting? And without a defense from the accused, without a defense from Jesus, the law normally was on the side of those who were accusing. So normally, if someone were to walk up and be like Jesus and not say anything, the law normally will land on those who have the problem. It'll always be in their favor. Okay? Roman magistrates, though, they didn't like to find an undefended man guilty. But they often felt that they had to. There's too many people now. There's too many people now that don't like this guy. And we got to do something. I can't ignore what they're saying. So we've got to do something. Okay? So we'll pick back up in verse 6. Now it was the governor's custom each year during the Passover celebration to release one prisoner. Anyone the people requested. Can you guys see the scripture behind me? Am I right in your way?
No, you're right.
I'm sorry. I'll slide off to the side. Okay.
A little more.
Now y'all can't see. Okay. Anyone the people requested. One of the prisoners at that time was Barabbas. Everybody say Barabbas. He was a revolutionary who had committed murder in an uprising. Sounds like a great guy. Sounds like a great guy. He committed murder in an uprising. This guy was a horrible guy. He was a dangerous guy. And Pilate knew that Jesus was an innocent man. And you hear him saying this in Luke 23, verse 14. He said, "I have found no fault with this man." What has he done? He's done nothing. So he had the choice between doing what is right, which was free an innocent man. Now understand prophecy. Jesus had to go to the cross and it had to happen the way it did. But still, Pilate had a choice. He could have copped Jesus. He could have freed the innocent man. Or do what was politically correct and execute a man brought before him by the Jews for treason. Pilate had a politically explosive situation on his hands. He was either going to cave to the people and give them what they want, which was Jesus, or he could have had a backbone and said, like he said in Luke, "I have no fault with him. I found no fault with him. This man is innocent." And we'll pick back up verse 8. The crowd went to Pilate and asked him to release a prisoner as usual. "Would you like me to release you this king of the Jews?" Pilate asked. For he realized now that the leading priests had arrested Jesus out of envy. But at this point, the leading priests stirred up the crowd to demand the release of Barabbas instead of Jesus. Pilate thought that, I get it, they don't like Jesus, they have a problem with Jesus, but he didn't do anything wrong, they had to release him. I mean, Barabbas, he's a murderer, he created an uproar, he's a bad man, there's no way they're going to pass on Jesus. But they did. They let the guilty man go. They let him go. And they said, we want Jesus. We want Jesus. They let go of Barabbas. Verse 12. Pilate asked them, then what should I do with this man you call the King of the Jews? And they shouted back, crucify him. Why? Pilate demanded. What crime has he committed? But the mob roared even louder, crucify him. I can't believe this text. It goes on to say, so to pacify the crowd, to shut the mouth of the crowd, to put a pacifier in their mouth, stop your screaming and stop your yelling. You're going to get what you want. I'm tired of hearing you cry. For parents, when you stay up late with your kids and they whine and they scream and you want to put a pacifier in their mouth because it shuts them up. And Pilate was more concerned about shutting up the crowd and doing the wrong thing than he was acquitting Jesus of something he never did. Pilate released Barabbas to them. He ordered Jesus flogged with a lead-tipped whip, then turned him over to the Roman soldiers to be crucified. See, Pilate was now in a dangerous place. The crowd was almost becoming a riot. And at that time, if there was one thing that would get him in trouble with the Roman superiors of his, it was a riot. You don't want a riot starting in your hands. You don't want anything crazy like that to happen when you're in charge. That would create a problem. So with both the people and the Jewish rulers demanding the death of Jesus, Pilate was unwilling to oppose them both. And he began the process of execution. He washed his hands of it. This man is innocent, but I wash my hands of it. This is what you want? I'll stick a pacifier in your mouth and let you get what you want. This man had an opportunity to cop or drop Jesus. And here we see him in the text. He dropped him. He let him go. He gave the people what they wanted. And he sold out. Instead of having a backbone and copping this amazing opportunity to rescue someone who did no wrong, he washed his hands of it. This man had to die knowing that he allowed and gave his permission to execute Jesus Christ, the Messiah. Can you imagine going to your grave knowing that it's you who gave the permission to execute the King of the world? We're going to be given so many opportunities in life to either demonstrate or deny Jesus. You're going to be given so many opportunities, let me say that again, to demonstrate, to model, to be like, walk like, talk like, act like, love like Jesus. Or like Pilate, you can deny him. I don't want that, not my vibe, not my season. I'm doing kind of my own thing right now. Drop it. We can either walk into our schools this year and demonstrate the love of God and all the good things that he's done in our lives and in our friends' lives. Or we can drop it. Say, I'll pick it back up at summer camp next year. I'll pick it back up at next level. I'll pick it up at winter camp coming up in January. That's where I'll pick it up. No, I want to encourage you right here and right now. You got to start thinking about this school year. Some of you, it's tomorrow. And you have an opportunity to demonstrate Jesus when you walk into those halls, because the reality is people need a demonstration of who Jesus is. They need to know what he looks like and what he acts like and what a life looks like that's lived for him in a real way. Not just someone who posts something on their little Instagram profile, John 3:16, and then all their pictures are like, you, and I hate you, and my life sucks. You're going to be about it or you're not. You have an opportunity right here and right now to decide that I'm going to cop Jesus and everything that goes with it, or drop him. I'm either going to demonstrate him or I'm going to deny him. Your call. Because one day, you're going to stand trial like Pilate, and you're going to have to choose. Are you going to let it go? Are you going to give the people and your friends what they want? You're going to live like them? Are you going to sin and live in compromise like them? Are you going to do everything that they tell you to do because it's the cool thing to do? Or are you going to take a stand and have a backbone and learn from this idiot who missed it and cop Jesus and demonstrate him anyway? It's on you. I can't make this decision for you. Your friends can't make that decision for you. It's on you. You're either going to cop him, you're going to demonstrate him and live like him, or you're going to drop him. And you're going to do your own thing, and you're going to find out that it wasn't worth it. Then I'll see you back here in a couple of weeks, and you're going to say, Pastor Hayden, I'm missing it. And I'm going to say, you dropped Jesus 4 weeks ago. You've been running from Jesus. You're playing too many games. You're going to have to choose. You can put up that picture. Just kind of a visual. Don't worry about anything in particular. But you're going to have to choose if you want to cop or drop going to church or staying home. You're going to have to choose to cop or drop staying home a little longer to get in the presence of God, or go to the movies with your squad. Listen, that sounds so cliche, but the reality is this Christian life is a real game. If you're not fighting to get into the presence of God where he can reveal his plans and his purposes, nobody else is going to do it for you. It's on you. It's a real thing. You can go home right now and you can get in your bed, you can put in your ear pods, and you can start listening to worship and just saying, God, I don't even know what to say, but I just love you. Just love you. And I want to trust you. And I want to lead. I want to be fine. I want to be with you. I want to do what you want me to do. I want to go where you want me to go. I want to say what you want me to say. That's a real thing. You can get into the presence of God. You don't got to do anything crazy. But it's there that you can experience his joy and his freedom. You can experience what it sounds like when he speaks to you. You can experience being loved. Maybe some of you need that. You got to choose to walk into his presence. You're either going to cop walking into his presence and those opportunities, or drop them and to keep living life. Going to the movie. I'm not saying don't go to the movies, but I'm saying make sure you're prioritizing God above everything else. God first, fun second, because he wants you to have fun. But the people who put Jesus first, their lives look a lot different than those who don't. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You're going to have to choose to cop or drop joining your faith club during lunch at school, even though it's not convenient and your friends aren't there. You're going to have to choose to cop or drop Jesus to become the Lord of your life. At the end of the day, that's the most important decision you can make. I can't make it for you. You got to make that for yourself. But the reality is, heaven and hell are two real places, and you're going to one of them. So my prayer for all of you tonight is that when it comes to Jesus, in any circumstance, in any scenario, you cop him. If you do, you'll never regret it. See, the more we choose to cop Jesus, the more like him we become. The more we demonstrate him to others. Because you become like who you spend time with. But the more we choose to drop and say, I'll come back to that another time, or it's just not my vibe, it's not my thing right now, I'm just kind of doing my own thing, the more difficult our lives become. This is a real verse. It's a hard verse. But I'm going to read it to you. Matthew 10:33 says this. But everyone who denies me here on earth, you can either demonstrate or you can deny. Anyone who denies me here on earth, I will also deny before my Father in heaven. That's deep. so here's what I want to do. I don't even know what this is going to look like. I'm going to have her keep playing, and I want you to sit there, and I want you to think. If you need to move somewhere else in this room, I don't care. I need you to get with God and determine if you're going to continue to cop these opportunities. You're going to continue to cop this. You're going to continue to demonstrate the love of God. And you're going to walk into your school being an example, or not. I'm going to give you a couple minutes. And so if you need to move, you need to sit where you are, you need to journal some things out, you need to talk to your small group leader or me or whatever. I want to take 3 minutes to do that. 3 to 4, maybe 5. We'll see. But this is serious. Like, it's time to do some business. You got some big things to ask yourself and prepare yourself, because a man who fails to plan plans to fail. And some of you are starting school tomorrow. What better way than telling Jesus tonight that I want to cop every opportunity? Every time my friend looks like he's having a hard time and no one's talking to him, I want to cop that opportunity and beat Jesus. I want to cop every opportunity that God brings. So take 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes. She's just going to play, and I'll come up, and then I'll pray, and then we'll go to small groups. Sound good? Any questions? You good? All right, take 5 minutes. Please do not talk to one another. I don't want anyone messing around right now. Take that 5 minutes, 4 minutes now, and do your thing.